A ring misplaced. Fate watched quietly. Stars whispered softly. Dreams held secrets. Silence carried answers. Heartbeats echoed destiny. Moonlight kissed truth. Desert winds listened. Tears found meaning. Love remembered promises. Souls met again. Heaven opened wide. Light embraced shadows. Names carved eternal. Hands touched gently. Whispers became vows. Eyes spoke everything. Truth unveiled beautifully. Patience bloomed gold. Destiny bowed humbly. He waited silently. Time moved slowly. Pain turned prayer. Faith stayed strong. Echoes of devotion. Mirrors of longing. Heaven's mercy glowed. Angels watched close. Promise never faded. Truth found home. Dreams turned gold. Voices met eternity. Wounds became wisdom. Love found voice. Clouds carried confessions. Wind kissed memories. Sands held stories. Eyes met stars. Hearts shared silence. Grace filled distance. Whispers touched fate. Hope embraced sorrow. Rain blessed waiting. Moon remembered hearts. Sun forgave shadows. Echoes sang forgiveness. Faith outshined tears. Time revealed purpose. Destiny drew near. Hands reached heavens. Petals fell gently. Roses remembered promises. Mirrors showed truth. Eyes refused lies. Soul stayed loyal. Sky crowned love. Heaven smiled softly. Earth bowed humble. Names carved deep. Rings met destiny. Heartbeats joined harmony. Desire turned devotion. Distance lost power. Dreams found light. He waited true. Stars guided hearts. Truth kissed silence. Patience bloomed again. Heaven sealed bond. Love became legend. Nights held prayers. Stars kept witness. Moon guarded secrets. Wind whispered truth. Faith never wavered. Dreams kept burning. Eyes searched skies. Heart carried hope. Desire met destiny. Love conquered distance. Whispers of eternity. Promises. Dawn kissed horizon. Dreams breathed light. Faith carried fragrance. Heart whispered hope. Stars faded slow. Moon hid softly. Winds told stories. Heaven held silence. Time touched peace. Souls shared warmth. Rings glowed truth. Love found crown. Patience birthed miracles. Tears washed sorrow. Eyes met calm. Hands held eternity. Voices met heaven. Truth stayed pure. Dreams stayed loyal. Heart knew home. He walked steady. Steps wrote faith. Desert watched love. Sun shone mercy. Sky painted destiny. Light wrapped hearts. Promise turned gold. Soul remembered vows. Hope carried songs. Eternity embraced names. Stars wept joy. Moon smiled wide. Wind sang grace. Heaven bowed kind. Love ruled forever. Hands met fate. Eyes spoke vows. Truth touched stars. Heart stayed strong. Destiny breathed peace. Night embraced dawn. Stars blessed journey. Moon poured silver. Wind carried faith. Dreams kissed patience. Heart felt harmony. Tears turned diamonds. Truth lit darkness. Souls touched heaven. Names glowed bright. He walked fearless. Love guided steps. Hope whispered gently. Sky opened wide. Desert sang softly, roses scented destiny. Faith wore crown, light held hands, eyes met stars, heart stayed true. Promise remained unbroken, silence spoke volumes, time melted softly, rings whispered union, heaven smiled brighter, angels sang blessings, souls shared eternity, dreams found peace, truth became song, love breathed forever, wind kissed sands, moon watched tenderly, heartbeats echoed grace, patience won beautifully, faith conquered pain, hope built wings, light warmed soul, destiny bowed pure, heaven wrote names, eternity crowned love, dawn whispered softly, faith held ground, heart remembered vows, dreams crossed oceans, eyes met sunrise, hands touched promise, wind carried blessings, heaven watched close, stars bowed gently, truth stayed shining, souls met quietly, love found breath, patience built gardens, light healed shadows, tears birthed strength, hope stayed constant, sky guarded hearts, moon crowned loyalty, rings glowed peace, destiny felt near. He spoke softly, words became prayer, faith kissed silence, time forgave wounds, heart sang truth, soul met freedom, dreams bloomed again, eyes found mercy, heaven poured gold, love ruled gently, sand held stories, wind told truth, stars hummed names, light wrapped souls, promise stayed eternal, grace filled air, faith conquered storms, peace embraced hearts, heaven whispered forever, love became destiny, moonlight kissed faith, dreams touched stars, heart carried promise, eyes held peace, wind whispered patience, desert embraced silence, roses bloomed eternal, heaven watched tenderly, tears turned prayers, truth stayed gold, souls moved closer, hands met softly, names echoed heaven, faith ruled quietly, destiny found rhythm, light crowned love, time bowed, humble, stars wept joy, promise felt alive, heartbeats wrote eternity. He walked calmly, hope followed close, sky painted blessings, wind sang softly, dreams built bridges, truth kissed light, love conquered fear, faith opened doors, patience guided footsteps, heaven smiled again, rings shone brightly, souls touched gently, hearts shared destiny, names carved deep, peace filled air, silence spoke truth, light healed everything, hope never faded, dreams found home, love stayed forever, morning touched silence, sky carried gold, faith kissed horizon, heart breathed calm, dreams followed light, souls met truth, wind told mercy, roses framed destiny, hope stayed tender, tears turned pearls, eyes met heaven, time forgave pain, love spoke softly, hands joined gently, promises grew stronger, truth wrapped hearts, peace crowned faith, stars hummed quietly, heaven held names, rings shone steady. He walked grateful, steps wrote prayers, sun warmed silence, moon blessed path, light guarded love, patience built home, destiny smiled kind, heart felt whole, dreams glowed softly, truth stayed near, wind touched roses, sands remembered footsteps, Eyes saw grace. Heaven whispered still. Faith became strength. Hope sang endless. Love breathed forever. Souls rested pure. Names stayed golden. Eternity embraced them. Evening kissed horizon. Stars guided hearts. Faith held fire. Dreams stayed warm. Moon whispered gently. Winds carried vows. Love healed wounds. Eyes found peace. Tears birthed strength. Truth shone clear. Souls met softly. Hands shared light. Hope hugged time. Destiny stayed faithful. Rings glowed gold. Names echoed softly. Heaven crowned patience. Grace touched night. Faith ruled calm. Hearts beat eternity. He walked silently. Sky watched proud. Wind carried honor. Light blessed steps. Truth followed close. Dreams smiled wide. Love stayed humble. Eyes spoke truth. Soul carried heaven. Time forgave all. Stars bowed slowly. Desert breathed calm. Hope filled air. Roses kissed dawn. Silence held meaning. Faith bloomed gently. Heart stayed kind. Promise remained pure. Heaven whispered always. Love became forever.